Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of light and secret knowledge wherever you may be, you are listening to Points of Light Radio, the podcast dedicated to taking you past the apron and behind the closed doors of lodges everywhere. And here is your host, Stan Miller.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. Ad Nastana. It's a pleasure to be back here with you on Points of Light Radio, as well as my guests, continuing this journey of light and knowledge. If you recall, in previous segments of Points of Light Radio, we fellowshipped with members of the International Order of Oddfellows, the Grand United Order of Oddfellows, the Ancient Mystic Order of Samaritans, the Muscovites, the Encampment, and the Patriarchs Militant. Did I miss any? Whether I did or I didn't, I encourage you to go back and review those segments because it will line up perfectly with the organization that we will be featuring today. And that organization is the Daughters of Rebekah. They're also known as the Rebekahs and the International Association of Rebekah Assemblies. The Rebekahs, quite simply put, are an international service-oriented organization and a branch of the Independent Order of Oddfellows. They were founded on the 20th of September, 1851, and were for women only. Originally, the Daughters of Rebekah had no lodge system of their own, and they operated informally and locally. However, on September 25th, 1868, the International Order of Oddfellows voted to establish degree lodges of the Daughters of Rebekah comparable to the all-male International Order of Oddfellows lodges. Today, membership in the Rebekahs is open to both men and women. The Rebekahs operate a one-degree structure with symbols such as the beehive, the moon, the dove, and the lily as part of the rituals. And I'll allow my guests to expand further on both those symbols and the Rebekah Assembly themselves. My guest for this particular segment of Points of Light Radio is Debra LaVergne. She's here to shed light on the Rebekahs. I can't wait because I've been wanting to feature this organization for 2 years. 2 years, as long as this podcast has been running, I've been trying to feature the Rebekahs. And so I can't wait to continue this journey. So let's go talk to Debra LaVergne, shall we? But as I always ask you, are you still thirsty for knowledge? Are you still searching for the light? Then just trim your lamp and follow me. Debra LaVergne, welcome to Points of Light Radio.
Nice to be here.
Now, I understand you were a member of the Rebekahs.
Yes, I have been for 53 years.
Wow. Okay. So first of all, why don't you tell our listeners and viewers about yourself?
I am currently Vice President of the Rebekah Assembly of California. I am past president of the International Association Ladies Auxiliary Patriarchs Militant.
Wow.
Having gone through the Patriarchs Militant branch a great deal. I'm also currently Grand High Priest of the Grand Encampment of California.
Wow.
I am learning to say no, but I haven't gotten very good.
That's wonderful. It sounds like you really enjoy being involved.
Yes, I do.
Now tell us about the Rebekahs. I've been wanting to interview a Rebekah for 2 years now. So now I understand it was originally part of the International Order of Oddfellows Auxiliary or something like that, or it was a female.
I'll give you a history story here. Back in the 1830s, a woman traveling on an East Coast city somewhere was injured and died in a streetcar accident. The local Oddfellows Lodge felt embarrassed when they found out she was the wife of an Oddfellow from another lodge that they hadn't known, and they would have helped if they had known she was, associated with the order. That started a great discussion in the Grand Lodge of the United States about there being some kind of identification for wives and daughters of Oddfellows. That discussion finally came to a head in 1851 when an honorary degree was proposed for women associated with Oddfellows. And the committee assigned to consider the legislation came back with an unfavorable report. But Schuyler Colfax, who was later Vice President of the United States, gave a minority report arguing that the degree should be created. And he was so eloquent, his words carried, and the degree of Rebekah was authorized in September 15th, 1851. The following year, actually very soon thereafter, they actually published a degree ceremony for it. I've actually got a copy of that.
Didn't Schuyler Colfax write that as well?
He wrote the degree.
Oh, amazing.
Based on women of the Bible. And
he was an Oddfellow, by the way?
He was an Oddfellow.
Okay, I didn't know this. This is good. Okay.
He's one of the, the Oddfellows who've been important historically.
Wow. Well, let's talk about the degrees, though. Like, you have the Beehive degree, which is a representation of cooperative industry teaching the advantages of united efforts in all the ministries of the order.
Those are the emblems of the Rebekah degree.
Okay.
The beehive, moon and 7 stars.
Okay. A dove, I believe, is also
a dove, and the lily.
Yes, the lily is like, there's 4 degrees to it, in other words, right?
So there's 4 emblems.
Okay, yeah.
1 degree, but there are 4 emblems exemplifying the degree.
Mm-hmm. So, and do you wear those on your regalia or something like that?
The basic regalia is actually the beehive. It's a beehive shape.
Okay. And how long is the degree itself? How long does it take? About an hour to confer, or?
Yeah, it's 40 minutes to an hour to confer.
Okay.
The longest part is the chaplain's charge, where she, reads about the women of the Bible that the degree is based on.
Okay, so it's pretty much entirely based around the Bible.
Right.
Now, what are the qualifications of joining the Rebekahs? Does one have to be an Oddfellow first, or the wife of an Oddfellow, or?
That used to be the case.
Okay.
Back in the 1960s, you had to have an affiliation with a male Oddfellow to join, which is why my grandmother joined on her grandfather being an Oddfellow.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it ran in your family, yeah.
Yeah. But now it's, a woman or a man of good character who believes in a supreme being and is loyal to their country, which is the same requirements for membership in an Oddfellows Lodge.
But you don't have to be an Oddfellow first.
You don't have to be an Oddfellow first.
Okay, all right, wow. And
women were not able to join Oddfellow lodges until the year 2000.
Wow. Okay. All right. And what do you think membership in the Rebekahs has done for you?
It helped me get a lot more comfortable with public speaking, because when I went through the chairs, when I was the presiding officer in the Noble Grand, I saw that it helped me get more comfortable with public speaking, which was feeding over into making it easier at work.
Mm. Okay. All right.
And that's something that the Rebekah Lodge always was good for. It was it gave women a chance for leadership roles that they weren't getting in society in general. You know, this is talking 1960s, 1970s.
They do a lot of good work, as I understand it. What does your particular Rebekah Lodge do?
We support the Rebekah Children's Services, which is it started as an orphanage in Gilroy,
Okay.
run by the Oddfellows and Rebekahs. Like 40 years ago, it changed its focus because orphans don't go into orphanages anymore. They go into foster care.
Okay.
And for quite a while, it was a residential program for children who were wards of the county, wards of the state, children who'd been removed from abusive families in most cases.
Oof.
You know, whose behavior wasn't stable enough for them to go into a foster family and survive, much less thrive.
Yeah. Wow. And
Um,
sorry, go ahead.
and the Children's Home expanded its program to reach more children by developing a network of foster families with extra training to handle these children. So they managed to work themselves out of a residential program entirely. But they have a huge network and are expanding into San Benito County very soon. They've got property that they're building on.
Now, and speaking of expansion, how are the Rebekahs doing as far as membership wise? Are they growing?
They are dwindling.
Okay.
One of the side effects of having the Oddfellow Lodges open up to women in the year 2000 is that put Oddfellow Lodges and Rebekah Lodges in direct competition for the same pool of potential members.
Okay.
And Rebekahs have been struggling to make themselves relevant and attractive to give people a reason to join both. It used to be, before 2000, that Oddfellow Lodges and Rebekah Lodges, met at the same hall, different times, but they cooperated. And the women tended to be better at finding community interaction, community things for the lodge to do. And then they'd recruit the Oddfellow Lodges to do this. Well, once you've got the women in the Oddfellow Lodges, they don't need the Rebekah Lodge to point them at the good projects anymore.
Okay. And so you say they're dwindling. What do you suppose they have to do, shall we say, to change this? Change this? Do you think they have to do more to promote? Shall we say to promote their lodges, or what do you suppose they have to do?
To increase promotion of the Rebekah Lodges, and the Rebekah Lodges have to show why they are still relevant.
Okay.
Why they are, not replaced by the Oddfellow Lodges.
Okay. Now, I've heard it said that you say you've had a 53-year journey through the Odd Fellowship and Rebekahs. What have you learned, shall we say? What have you learned about yourself going through that? Often said.
I very much believe in the watchwords of the order, the friendship, love, and truth, that the world needs a lot more empathy. And I think the lodges do teach empathy. They do teach you to consider others.
Debra LaVergne, brothers and sisters, shedding some light on the Rebekahs. Let's unpack this conversation. Some things she covered. This is an organization with amazing history behind it. It really is. I mean, Schuyler Colfax, vice president, he went on to be the vice president of the United States. He wrote the Rebekah degree, right? I mean, you have that attachment to American history as well as the International Order of Oddfellows right there. You see it, right? And her personal influence in history within the Odd Fellowship, she's actually part of that history. I mean, her family was part of Odd Fellowship, but also she has 53 years, count them, 53 years of involvement. And not only that, she's still getting involved after 53 years. I mean, what a great example she is to those, not just within Odd Fellowship, but within fraternalism, right? We need more members in our fraternal organizations like Debra LaVergne. Now, some things I personally gleaned from the conversation, declining enrollment. I think it would be a shame for the Rebekahs to disappear. Debra LaVergne talked about the need to preserve that, to raise the profile of the Rebekahs, and that's part of what we tried to do here today, and part of what we will do here on Points of Light Radio is to continue to raise the profile of these organizations, right? They have it's not only the history, is how much they have to offer. The things that Ms. LaVergne talked about, the things that this organization had done for her personally, right? The pride she took in this organization and the things she had accomplished with them. Everybody can be part of this. Everybody can get involved and be part of this. And here's another wonderful thing is, unlike other appendant bodies of Odd Fellowship, you do not have to be in the Odd Fellows to join the Rebekahs. You can just walk in with no fraternal connections whatsoever and be part of this organization. I think that's wonderful that they've done that, right? I'd love to, and I will be featuring the Rebekahs here on Points of Light Radio again, right? But that's all I have time for today. Before I go, I want to remind you that this podcast is available on both YouTube and Spreaker. Please share, like, and subscribe when viewing Points of Light Radio on YouTube. You can follow Points of Light Radio on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Points of Light Radio. My Twitter handle is at PO Light Radio. You can see the link to my Spotify channel as well as my Points of Light Radio store. Brothers and sisters, this has been a pleasure fellowshipping with you and my guest today. Until we meet again, just step into the light.